Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 21 of the Kpop Weekly podcast with Emily Mallon. I'm your host. I'm so happy to be back for another week. We are getting into the end of February, which means we have some huge releases. The next 3 episodes are full of big players in the K-pop world. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous too. I'm a little nervous for some of these releases. I always want everyone to do well and I want to love the music. So it's never easy to give a not great review. I try to be fair and balanced and let you know why I may not love a song or a project. But I'm nervous. I've got some of my favorites coming up. We have Taeyong, Twice, Ace is finally back. So much to look forward to. But tonight, speaking of heavy hitters, La Sserafim. A lot of people are talking about this. This came out on Monday, the 19th of February. I'm going to give you a full review of this project, and I have a lot to say. So get ready. And then switching gears entirely, we have the solo debut from Cha Eunwoo, voted Korea's most handsome man, I feel like almost every year. He is a legend for his looks. But what about the music? What is he bringing to the table as a solo artist? This one shocked me. Good or bad? You're going to have to listen to the review to find out. So that's what we've got going on this week, plus a lot of K-pop news. There's a lot to talk about. I really want to address SM's touring schedule with NCT 127 and NCT Dream. But let's get into it. Let's get into the show. If you're new to the show, new episodes come out every Friday morning. This is a weekly K-pop show. My bread and butter, my thing, it's music reviews. There's so much that goes into K-pop and K-pop fandom. But for me, it's the music. I'm so passionate about this music and I want to talk about the music, get into the music. What has kept me around after I got into K-pop, it's the music. I love this music and I'm a huge music nerd. So if you want to hear full reviews, if you want to hear someone actually talk about if the music's good or bad or what they vibe to or not, this is the podcast for you. I also give you my opinions on what's going on in K-pop. I keep you up to date on K-pop news and give you my thoughts on it. I've been around the music industry just a little bit. So these may be educated opinions. So if you're sick of the typical like fangirl thing or influencer thing, you found the right podcast. Join me. My goal is to be a tastemaker, not an influencer. I love music. I love being here. And I'm so happy to be here for another week. To my loyal listeners and viewers, thank you for coming back. Thank you for supporting me. My Patreon is up and running. If you'd like to support, click on the link, join the community. There's all different tiers, but I want to make sure that we're all having a conversation. So please don't be shy. Join. Speaking of Patreon, I want to give a Patreon shout out to Alicia from Tyler, Texas. Alicia is a longtime listener and viewer. I've built a relationship with her throughout the years, from my New York City K-Pop Queens podcast to now K-Pop Weekly. Mom baby through and through. This girl loves Monsta X, and that's probably one of the many reasons we connect. Her alt bias, Kihan and Hyungwon. Taste. Taste, 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 taste. I love, love, love Monsta X, and Hyungwon and Kian are my biases. So this girl's got taste, and she's just an amazing supporter and fan of K-pop, fan of music. I was lucky enough to get some FaceTime with her last year at WeBridge. Thank you so, so much for your support. I'm so happy to have you. It warms my heart that people from my last podcast followed me here. That was a really difficult goodbye. I didn't know what was next, and I wasn't sure if I would be able to keep my listeners. So thank you, Alicia, from the bottom of my heart. I'm so happy to have you as a Patreon subscriber and as someone supporting me through this journey. And yeah, Monsta X, amazing. Fellow mom baby, I got you. If you'd like a shout out on the show, join the Patreon, slide into those DMs. That's part of the benefit package. And the merch is around the corner. I feel like I'm saying this every week, but you do get a discount on merch if you're a Patreon member. Something I really need help with, and this will be on Patreon too. So head on over to the Patreon if you want to get into this conversation. On my last podcast, New York City K-pop Queens, we had a name for our listeners, like a fandom name. And our fans were called Queendom, a member of the Queendom. Loved it. It worked really well. It was voted on by our listeners. I've had people ask me what this community, the viewers, what they're called, and I don't have a name yet. So I need your help. I need your help. I'm taking suggestions. It's easiest on the Patreon. I'm going to open up a conversation. But if you want to DM me, Instagram message, whatever, any way you can get in contact with me, if you have an idea for what the listeners and viewers, what this community we're building for the K-Pop Weekly podcast with Emily Mallon, if you have an idea what the name should be for our community, let me know. I think Queendom worked really well for New York City K-Pop Queens. It's time for something new. It's time for something different. This is a different show. So let me know. Let me know. We're going to have a vote. I'm sure I'm in good hands asking my viewers and listeners. Speaking of Patreon, speaking of my viewers and listeners, it's time to get to some poll questions. Every week, I ask poll questions. I just want to pick your brain. I want to know your opinions on what I'm reviewing, what I'm talking about, because as much as I hate to admit it, sometimes I could be way off. Maybe I liked something and everyone's like, this is not good. Or I'm obsessed with this hair color. And you guys are like, nope, you're the only one. I love having these conversations. And it also helps me on what to review. I'm constantly looking at the data and thinking about what my viewers and listeners like. So it's really important for you to interact. If you like a certain group, please watch the episode or watch the review. I splice out specific reviews as well on the YouTube channel. I look at those numbers. So the ones that aren't getting tons of views, I kind of know, well, maybe my community is not into that group. And on their next comeback, I won't review them. On the flip side, the videos that get tons of views and are really a lot of interaction, that tells me you guys are vibing with this group and I need to talk about them more. So please don't be shy. Make sure that you're showing some love to the content around your favorite groups so I know what you vibe with, because I just want to keep this something that we're all happy with. If you really love a group and you like my show, but I've never reviewed your favorite group, yeah, that could be frustrating. So, or vice versa. Nobody likes this one group that I'm talking about all the time. Well, then maybe I shouldn't be talking about them all the time. So please interact with the content and let me know. Leave comments. Don't be shy and head on over to that Patreon if you want to be part of the community. Again, thank you so much to everyone who's already joined. Let's get to these poll questions. Last week, I reviewed 8Turn. They were a recommendation, a suggestion from someone from our community, D. So I reviewed 8Turn. I vibed with them. Another great fifth generation boy group. So stacked with these young boy groups. I had to ask you, prior to my review, were you familiar with 8Turn? 67% of you said no, 33% said yes. So that's exciting. The majority of my listeners and viewers didn't know who this group were. And maybe I turned you on to them. Maybe now you're a fan. I love that. I love that. So in their comeback, 8Turn did this thing where they were all blonde. Every single member, different shades of blonde. Obsessed. Obsessed. I love that concept. I love that idea. One of you pointed out that Idol did it for Nude. Yes, I totally forgot about that last week. Idol did that, I guess it was a couple years ago now. They were all different shades of blonde, but it's not something we see all the time. And I liked it. I thought it was really fun and cool. So I asked you, how do you feel about Idol sharing the same hair color for a comeback? 83% of you loved it. 17% said, give me some variety. So overwhelming majority like this concept, like this idea. Then I had to ask, what's your favorite hair color on Idols? The choices were black, blonde, red, blue, or other. 60%, an overwhelming 60% chose black. They like the natural color. And then of the others, a lot of different comments all over the board. Some people preferred black, but would also choose pink or blue. One comment that I found interesting, like a golden brown I knew exactly what that was when I read that comment because yeah, it's kind of like a warm. I like that hair color too. Not mad at it. I think if I had to choose, it depends. I think on the right skin tone and face, that platinum blonde kills me. Kills me. Yes. But I feel like each of my favorite idols have a different look that I prefer them in. I mean, you can't go wrong with natural. That's always going to complement the features well. But obviously, I can talk about hair color on idols all day. I won't. We've got business to get to. I've got to share more poll questions. Okay, next. I reviewed 10 last week. So I had to ask you, how would you rate 10's mini album? Loved it? It was okay, or not for me? 57% of you said it was okay, 43% loved it, and 0% gave it a bad review. So 10 positive reviews. I think I'm in the it was okay. I thought it was really good, but it wasn't like the best solo debut ever. So yeah, I'm with the majority of you. Then I asked, what's your favorite song on the debut? Nightwalker, Water, Dangerous, or Lie with You? I thought Dangerous was far and away the direction 10 should go. It was like old school Michael Jackson. I loved it. And y'all were with me. 83% chose Dangerous, 17% picked Lie with You. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I agree. Now, last week there was a lot of controversy around stuffed animal dolls, characters, whatever you want to call them, plushies, that groups create their own characters for each member. And it's been getting heated recently. A lot of they copied this person, they're copying this group. There's been a lot of fan wars around this. So it all like was kind of around Wanbin from Rise. He had this bunny character that a lot of stays thought looked similar to Lino's bunny character. So anyways, it was this whole debate. And I kind of said, well, remember, Jungkook had a bunny character before those groups with Cookie. So I had to ask you guys, who has your favorite bunny character? Is it Jungkook and Cookie? Is it Lino with Leebit? Or is it Wanbin? Lino and Leebit, overwhelming 83% of the votes, and then 17% for Jungkook and Cookie, Wanbin 0%. So Lino is winning the bunny battle. And then last week, I reviewed 10. Next week, I'm reviewing Taeyong. These are kind of back to back male solo releases on SM. So I asked, which one are you more excited for, 10 or Taeyong? Split right down the middle. Split right down the middle. 50% for 10, 50% for Taeyong. Even. We're even, which makes sense. I think 10 and Taeyong are both fantastic and are both very different artists. So it's natural that you're going to vibe with one, maybe more than the other. I'm a big fan of both. But if you've been listening to me or watching me for a long time, you know Taeyong is one of my alt biases. I really, really vibe with him and dig him. So I would lean a little Taeyong's way. We'll see what he brings us next week. We will see. I'll be reviewing that one next week. And if you missed my 10 review, go back to episode 20. Check out YouTube. Videos are there. I thought it was really well done, and there's a lot of interesting stuff. Let's get to the music reviews. I've been babbling long enough. It's time to talk about this Les Sserafim release. A lot of chatter about this one. This came out a couple of days ago, and it's dividing the internet. If you don't know who Les Sserafim are, 5-member girl group. They debuted in 2022 under Source Music. Source is a subsidiary of Hybe. They're part of the Hybe family. Their album Unforgiven was one of my top 5 K-pop albums of 2023. I think musically what they do, for me, usually knocks it out of the park. So I'm a fan of these girls. They've released a lot of good music since debuting in the past couple years. This is a new EP. It's 5 songs, and it's called Easy. The single is called Easy. Okay. I don't know if this is going to be an easy review. This is First, I just want to say I don't hate this song at all. It's different. It's a different vibe from other title tracks. It's a little more mature, definitely an R&B sound. There's a lot of restraint here sound-wise, which I'm not sure how I feel about it. It kind of doesn't go anywhere. It's not a super dynamic, interesting song. It's not a bad song. And there are some moments, there's like the clapping thing. There's some cool moments, but it doesn't go anywhere. And I think it really suffers from the short length. Every single song on this EP is less than 3 minutes long. When you're doing those really short songs, it's hard to build to like an amazing bridge, that really lively last chorus. You don't have the time to get there. So maybe that's it. But this just kind of felt like it didn't go anywhere for me. And I think it's also suffering from being a little more restrained, being kind of this mid-tempo R&B song. After the like bombastic in your face tracks like Anti-Fragile, Unforgiven, Fearless, this just felt like, it's just different. It's different. And different isn't always bad. I give credit for trying something else. I think that this was an interesting move at this point in their career. I understand you don't want to just keep coming out with the same vibe. I don't think they did before, but I get, hey, we're going to slow it down. We're going to do this like sexy, sultry, mid-tempo R&B track. I understand in theory why they thought this was a good idea. I just don't think it works. Like, it's okay. It's okay. It's not a bad song. It just, my expectations were so high. I was so excited to see what they were going to bring because they're really kind of this in your face girl group. And this wasn't exactly what I'm used to. That doesn't mean it's bad, and it probably will grow on me. And I think with Les Sserafim, they definitely want to be the sexy girl group, right? Their styling, their choreography, their vibe, their personality is sexy girl group. So I think in that way, this song really works. Like I do get it and I see the vision. I just wish it was a little bit more interesting and dynamic. It feels very Western. This feels like a rejected Tanashi track, honestly. It doesn't feel exciting or innovative. It feels like a track you would hear over here, a B-side on like a Tanashi album. And I don't know why you would want that as your title track in the position that you're in now as La Seraphim. It just felt like, huh. I also was really struck when I looked at the writing credits and I thought, well, here we go. 10 songwriters did this. 10 for this song. Go listen to this song. 10 songwriters were on this track. It reminds me of like Permission to Dance, BTS. We're getting into that hype Western thing where everyone gets a songwriter credit. Or maybe they all, too many cooks in the kitchen. I don't know. But I was really taken aback by that because, not to be shady, but like AI could probably do this. If you typed R&B American song with 1998 flair, mid-tempo, I think AI could create this song. I mean, there's nothing here that's like, wow, that's not a bad thing, but like let's get real. I agree with a lot of people saying this is like a B-side track. It's not bad, but I think maybe because it does sit in that mid-tempo, it's just kind of there. It's not like a really heavy, amazing ballad, and it's not like a driving, a sassy, bombastic title track. It's just kind of this slow, I make it look easy, sultry song. Not a bad song. Not a bad song. But would I choose this for their title track going into Coachella? No, I would not. No, 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 no. So clearly the song didn't do it for me. What about the music video? This I get. They strut into a church and they're slaying choreography. The church setting really reminds me of Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet with like the neon lighting. That was like a real throwback 90s. Some of the imagery is really pretty. I like it when they have the sheer scarves over their face, like very BTS, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. I liked a lot of the imagery. These 5 women are gorgeous, and there were some really beautiful visual moments in this music video. Again, a lot of 90s. This is a 1998 R&B song. There's scenes with Chaewon, and she's in the bathtub. She's got sunglasses on. That's directly Lil Kim. I mean, that's just from a Lil Kim video. So, like, there's a lot of reference, a lot of reference there. But the styling works. I think all 5 members look beautiful. A lot of skin, a lot of toned abs. Like, give me your exercise routine. They look really, really good. All 5 members looked really pretty, really beautiful. And I think this type of music video works for this song. It brought a little more swag and energy. And they're such good dancers that it's smart to show more choreography. You don't really need a big storyline and tons of sets. Just show them dancing, because I think with this group, that's such a strong selling point for them. So I actually thought the music video was good, and I think fans would absolutely love it. I would be shocked if fans aren't obsessed with this music video. I think the music video for Easy works really well. I'm just not blown away by the song. Sometimes songs take a while to grow on me. I only had a couple days to listen to this before getting behind the mic. So who knows? Maybe a year from now, I'll be like, that is the best song. Let's get into the rest of the EP. My standout tracks: Smart and We Got So Much. Okay. So, speaking of kind of recycled and maybe taking strong influence from things, Smart is very Afro beats. I like that sound. It's really popular right now, so I'm not shocked that K-pop is taking some influence from it. Very like Tyla, Doja Cat, Water. That really reminds me of Woman from Doja Cat. So obviously, like, I like that song. I like this song. I think it's good. And to be honest, to me, this is the catchiest song on the EP. Okay. So during the chorus, there's a part where I think they're saying smarter, but they pronounce it. They do this like heavy accent and they say smata, smata, smata. What? Because again, that would be like maybe an African artist doing Afrobeats might pronounce it that way, but it feels a little bit weird that they're doing it that way, especially because they have a member from New York. It's in English, so I understand there's pronunciation issues. I'm the last person to criticize pronunciation. But the pronunciation that they're doing sounds like an African pronunciation, a little more to me, more than like a Korean pronunciation. And they do have a member from New York. So if I read the word smarter, I would say smarter. And if the producer said, no, it's smata, I'd be like, yeah, it's not. And I'm not really comfortable using that accent because that's not my accent or what. I don't know. It just felt like it stood out to me. I was like, okay. And I think this is probably a case of they were listening to the guide. You get a guide with another singer on a song when you're an artist. So they were just copying the guide. And like, no shade to the members on this. I just found it took me out of it for a second, but I do think this has the catchiest hook on the whole album. So I don't hate the song. It has the catchiest hook. But again, I wouldn't say this is innovative. This is very much kind of jumping on a trend and not really changing much up. And this is also, guess how many songwriters are on this one? 14. 14 songwriters. Come on. Like, and my other standout track, We Got So Much. Okay, on We Got So Much, I like the groove of this one. It's pretty and chill with like some interesting production choices. I'm not sure they all work, but I thought, speaking of innovative, I thought this was the most interesting and innovative song on the album. The chorus works. This one, I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. Again, there was one little production choice that maybe I didn't vibe with totally, but I thought that this song was the most like, okay, most innovative. But I've got to say, every release can't be a hit. I think we get spoiled as K-pop fans because so many of our favorite artists continuously knock it out of the park. But I could say honestly, for my favorite K-pop groups, I can name the albums that I thought were a bit of a miss. Then they come back with the next one and it's great again. There's maybe only one group who hasn't missed for me yet. Um, so that said, I think this is one of those albums that maybe is a miss. This project's a miss for me for La Sserafim. It feels like maybe a desperate attempt for some US radio play, but none of the songs are that good. Perfect Night was great, and that one has been a hit, as it should have been. That's a great song. Whether it's Korean or English language, who cares? The song is good. This felt like chasing trends in the US market, and that it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. If the songs aren't good, it's not going to translate and it's not going to work. This just didn't work for me. And it's so weird because, like, I always think they have great songs and great producers and songwriters. So there was a strategy change clearly here. And I've got to be real. It's time for somebody else to come in because whoever A&R this project should be fired. Yes, I'm going to go there. I was bored. And I'm never bored with La Sserafim. And I was bored listening to this. If I wanted to listen to Midwestern music, I would listen to it. I live in LA. I can turn on the radio. This isn't good. And I don't know why they feel they have to chase that model. You don't. You don't. Who's the biggest group in the US right now? BTS are enlisted. Blackpink haven't put anything out for a while, but they're still very popular. Twice is killing it. Stray Kids are killing it. Stray Kids music is the opposite of a Western radio friendly. They're killing it. They just won a People's Choice Award for favorite group. You don't have to chase a mediocre Western sound to be popular here. You don't. So I don't know who advised them. I don't know if this is part of like the Hive of America thing, but this doesn't work. This doesn't work. And I know the fans are going to say, you know, anti and hater and all of that stuff. I'm here to give fair critiques. They were on my top albums of 2023 list. It has nothing to do with personally liking or not liking a group. The music here just doesn't, it's not exciting. It doesn't work. Okay. I also think vocally, they had some nice moments. I liked that Easy went a little bit lower. I think that like, oh, okay, cool. Obviously it would. It's an R&B song from the 90s. But I think this group vocally, I wouldn't say they're the strongest fourth gen group. And because of that, maybe they thrive and do better with really dynamic songs. You know, there's really dynamic dance songs. They kill it. Cause like when I watch them at the year end shows, when I watch their performances, to me, they're like a dance group. That's what they come off as. I think they're so strong with choreography and with dancing. So give them songs that kind of work with that. The choreography is fine here. Again, they're really leaning in on being the sexy girls. I know that there's a little bit of controversy around their dance performance to Smart because it's a lot of throwing back and a lot of stuff that isn't rare for us here in the West. I wasn't clutching my pearls watching that choreography. I think some people were, and honestly, I understand it. You have to remember all of these girls aren't 18 yet. So when La Sserafim came out, they had Fearless, which I love. In the music video, there was a part where they were kind of like, I don't want to say humping the floor, but for lack of a better term coming to my head right now, they were. And I remember my old co host and I were a little bit like, what? Like, you don't need to do that. And it kind of took me out of it because I thought these are younger girls. Look, again, I'm from the US, I live in LA. Britney Spears was like the queen of my adolescence. And she was very sexual and sexualized. So I'm not saying like, how dare you? Of course, we've been doing it over here for years. That doesn't mean you have to. And that doesn't mean like, I think it's the best way to go. You can be sexy without that. So I understand the pushback on the dance to Smart because it's a lot. It's a lot. It's not subtle. That said, it is what it is. Some people don't like it. Some people are going to vibe with it. You know, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. I'm not going to be a hypocrite and get excited when a guy has an open shirt and dances seductively and then say that these girls shouldn't be doing it. That's not really fair, you know? It's I just think that that's kind of their identity. They're the sexy dancer girls. So lean into that. And to lean into that, you need better songs. You need songs that kind of work with you, not against you. I think Easy was okay. It didn't work against them, but they have some of the most memorable choreography. Like an Anti-Fragile choreography is very memorable. I don't think this is going to be memorable choreography moving forward. Also that first song, oof, Good Bones. Yikes. It may be one of the most annoying songs I've heard in K-pop in recent memory. It's like this cheesy, spoken, juvenile, grating thing to open the project. I'm not sure who you think like you're appealing to with that, but it was just so like annoying. It literally annoyed me. I was like, oh my God. That's not exactly how you want to set the tone. So that didn't work. Did this release work for me? No. I'm one person, it's my opinion. They'll come back with something good. This to me, this is kind of their sneakers from ITZY. If you know, you know. And I like ITZY. And they've put out good stuff since. So every single project isn't going to be a hit. They tried some different stuff on this one. I don't want to knock them for trying. I think why it frustrates me is it feels so based on this like Western US radio play, chasing the US trends. You don't have to do that. You're La Sserafim. They should be chasing you. They're copying you. Like, stop. You don't need to do that. You really don't. So I think I was just a little bit disappointed in the structure of the songs and how this all played. But I want to be clear, I like this group. I like their music, and I've liked it since they debuted. This just didn't hit for me. Bring a strong performance at Coachella, ladies. Bring a strong performance at Coachella. Like, remind people you're those girls, and maybe don't sing all these songs. Just saying. Like, I would leave a few of these off the set list. My bias in this group has been the same since debut, because when you have sassy Chaewon with like, I'm like the girl with the bob. She came out, killed that bob from debut, and they're trying to hide it. They're putting like long blonde extensions on her. No, that's still the girl with the bob. It always will be. She's such a dynamic center, amazing dancer, full of attitude and spunk. So it hasn't changed. My record kind of goes all over the place. A lot of times it's Yujin. I think she's probably still my wrecker. But my bias in this group will forever be that Slay Queen Chaewon. She kills it, and she killed it on this. It's time for my rankings from La Seraphim's Easy EP. They gave us 5 songs. These are from least favorite to favorite. Number 5, Good Bones. Not my favorite way to start the album. Number 4, Swan Song. Number 3, Easy. Number 2, We Got So Much. And my number 1 song, even though it was very reminiscent of some other songs, I still thought this was the catchiest song on the album. It's Smart. Smarta. This was my favorite song on this EP. I get what they were going for, and I liked it. So there are my rankings. Looking forward to what's next. I'm rooting for Les Seraphim. I'm excited to see them at Coachella, and I'm looking forward to the next project and where they're going to go from here, because this was a departure. This was very different. Okay, moving on. Let's move on. Something totally different. Cha Eunwoo. If you don't know who this man is, where have you been? Where have you been? He debuted in the group Astro in 2016 under Fantasio Entertainment. This is his solo debut. He's done a lot of OSTs for dramas, but this is the official solo debut as a solo artist. He, as just like La Seraphim, he gave us 5 songs, an EP. It's called Entity, and the single is called Stay. I'm shocked by this one because I had no idea what to expect. And I think part of me was expecting like a really sexy like dance track with like minimal lyrics in the chorus, a lot of posing. He could have done that. And that's what I was picturing it. And I probably would have liked that. He went a completely different direction. And this really worked for me. Stay feels sad. The opening guitar, it makes me feel sad. and you immediately feel loss, like you know what the song's about. Um, Eunwoo doesn't have maybe the most powerful voice, but his voice works really well in a song like this. He's so sincere in the delivery. If you want to find someone that really emotionally connects to what they're doing, it's him. And again, someone who's like Korea's most handsome man, I would stereotype him and not think he has that emotional depth. And he proved me wrong. And I hate even saying that. It's like saying a pretty girl's stupid. I look at this handsome guy and I'm so shocked at how deep and emotional he is and vulnerable and dialed into conveying his emotion with sincerity. Amazing. Amazing. Um, he wrote the lyrics for this. He wrote the lyrics for every single song on this release. That also blew me away because we're dealing with an artist, real artistry. Where my last review, they had 14 songwriters on the songs. Every song on this release has 3 songwriters, including this one, and he is the lyricist. So, the song Stay, it's about longing, and it can be interpreted in different ways, maybe based on the listener's experience. It really does feel like a song from a K-drama, so no surprise. He's done a lot of OSTs. But as a fan, I'm not sure this is about romantic love. Um, and I think a lot of you will be with me on this because if you're a K-pop fan, you know about Astro. And if you didn't stan Astro, you know what happened with one of their members. And I'm getting a trigger warning right now because with this release, we have to talk about it. I'm referencing Moonbin's suicide last year. So Eunwoo's group member passed away last April. It hasn't even been a year. And when I listened to this song, my thoughts immediately went to him. And, the lyric, I want you to stay here, it just felt so sad. And it's a really good song. This is a beautiful song. So I loved it, but I felt tinges of like, okay, this might not be about a breakup. This could be about grief. This could be about losing someone. And throughout the album, it gets more specific where it's clear what's happening in his world right now. Before we get there, let's talk about this music video. Let's talk about this music video because we need more K-dramas. Cha Eunwoo's been in K-dramas. This isn't like I'm telling the world something you don't know, that this guy should be an actor. Obviously, but he's a good actor. That opening shot in the car where he's smoking and he's crying. Oh, yes. Yes. I'm just going to clearly, if you know me and you're listening to this review and you're watching this, it's becoming obvious as I'm saying it. He is moving up my list. He's been my Astro bias, but like a hot guy who's also like really emotional and vulnerable and emotionally intelligent and mature. Oh my God. It's not fair. This guy cannot be like that good looking and also this. Leave some positive attributes for the rest of the men, Eunwoo. This is too much. You are just taking it all. He's an amazing actor, very dramatic opening, beautiful shots in this video. I love the motorcycle in the desert. I love it when he's on top of the rocks. A lot of angst. He's sad. He misses his girl. Clearly this is about a breakup in the context of the music video. Or maybe even a more permanent loss. Who knows? But there's a love interest. And I thought the effect towards the end, where he's like running in traffic and all of the cars kind of blur, it's really artistic. It looks like a painting. Beautiful. They spent money on this music video. That's clear. He shot it here in LA. I think it was a 4-day shoot. This music video is stunning. Shout out to the creative team behind this one because like this is beautiful. And yeah, he should be an actor. Yes, 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 yes. I will watch every K-drama moving forward that he is in because he is fantastic. I thought this was very effective and very surprising. for a title track, for a solo debut. He's going right for the heart from the very beginning. And I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. I thought that this worked. Let's talk about the rest of the project. My album picks were You and I and Where Am I think this is a very solid EP though. So You and I, it really sets the tone for the album. It's like this jazzy, chill, introspective sound. It's been raining here the last few days in LA, and it was so nice to listen to this on these rainy days with a cup of coffee. Yeah, I'm here for it. And I think again we can hear vocally where his strengths lie. This was a very smart choice for him. Really nice sound, and there's a lot of maturity here. There's a lot of like grown maturity in the sound, in the production, and in his vocal delivery. I really, really like it. Not reinventing the wheel. There's not crazy K-pop dynamics. You don't need it. You don't need it. A good song is a good song. And I think they started things off really well. It let me know what the vibe was going to be like for the rest of the album. So You and I loved it. But we have to talk about Where Am I? Oof. Yikes. Okay. And I mean yikes in the best way. I mean yikes in I've been dreading getting behind the camera and microphone to talk about this since I heard it because I can't get through this without crying. It's such an emotional song. It's such a gut punch. So I don't want to cry all the time on the pod, but we'll see if I can get through this one. I love his bare vocal over those piano chords to start. He's immediately putting himself out there with beautiful vulnerability. This song is so pretty and devastatingly sad. Like all the songs on the album, he wrote the lyrics. Where I feel like the rest of the album is kind of circling the elephant in the room. This one directly addresses Moonbin's loss. And I applaud him for working through his grief in a public way like this. I saw somebody say, well, he's still grieving. And it kind of made my blood boil. And I want to tell you why. He's still grieving, is still. It hasn't been a year since one of his best friends in the world, his group member brother, took his own life. It hasn't been a year. So if you're lucky enough that you've never experienced the loss of a loved one through suicide, I pray that you never do. But if you have, you know that never leaves you. That grieving is never going to leave you. The devastation of it will never leave you. So when fans are giving him advice on how to grieve, shut up. Shut up. There's no still, that's raw. That's raw, less than a year out for anyone that's lost someone, especially to a suicide. Losing someone to suicide, in my experience, is the hardest thing to deal with. You will never get over it. You will never stop grieving. So please just keep that in mind, especially with an artist that's brave enough to put himself out there like this. I feel lucky that he felt comfortable enough to be this vulnerable. But please, like in comments about grief and when you're leaving YouTube comments under his stuff, fans, please be cognizant. To me, it reads that you've never dealt with it. That's fine. But empathy goes a long way. Or maybe just don't leave a comment. Some of the lyrics, he says, like, through the half open window, I see your room lit up by chance. Familiar traces. I hope all of this is a dream. I sent a text asking if you're doing okay. Will you be holding your broken heart and wandering through the dark streets? Ugh. And the one that like killed me is he wrote and he sings, the sky was clear as glass on my way to you. Though I hoped the sun wouldn't rise, the time we spent together, it all feels like a lie, like a sorrowfully beautiful dream that makes you cry. Where am I? Where am I? I keep calling you, but I can't see you. So where am I? Don't drift away. I wish I could hold you for once. I will see you again. That lyric about the sky was as clear as glass on my way to you. Eunwoo was here in California at Coachella when it happened. So he immediately got on a flight and flew back to Korea. And the imagery of that, I just kept picturing his face maybe pressed up against like the glass on the airplane. And I'll never forget the paparazzi videos and shots of him landing, power walking through the airport with tears in his eyes. Just the devastating visuals. It's very, very sad. So if you need a good cry, I recommend this album. And if you've lost someone, I recommend it if you want to feel those feelings. But if you don't, you might want to skip this song. Of course, it's my favorite on the album, but you know, this is it's a tough subject matter, and it's tough to sing about, it's tough to write about, it's tough to talk about. But I'm blown away by his vulnerability, his openness, his talent, his sincerity. And I think with this whole project, we really get a feel of who he is as a solo artist. That was kind of my knock on Ten's album last week. And I like Ten's album, but it felt like all the songs were so different. I still don't know who he is as a solo artist. Eunwoo, I know who you are. And it surprised me. It surprised me. There's a lot of depth here. The last song on the album, You're the Best, felt like a direct song to Moonbin. It felt like he was singing to Moonbin. And it's a very beautiful song. Really pretty and very heartfelt. So this whole project felt like listening to somebody process some grief. And I applaud him for that. And I love it. But, in the first couple songs, we did get a little bit of a different feel. So it's not, I want to say that if you haven't listened to it, this isn't like 5 heavy, depressing songs. The first couple songs are a little bit more upbeat and not really about this. And then the last like 3 songs, kind of now we're getting into it. But I would say it's really worth the listen. I highly, highly recommend this. Anytime you make somebody feel a certain way, you've done your job as an artist, right? Anytime. For me, I'm excited when I hear a song and immediately feel the emotion in my stomach, in my chest. I feel it. That doesn't have to just be a sad song. That doesn't have to be a sad song. Sometimes, like the sassy, fun songs, put on a Blackpink song, I feel like I'm the hottest bitch in the room, Espa Better Things, yes, like you feel something, you emotionally connect to a song. It doesn't always have to be sad. I think the sad ones stick with us because those aren't emotions that we maybe feel and express every day. This made me feel a lot. And to that I say bravo. I could tell he poured his soul into this, and it was worth it. This is a great project. I'm blown away by this. The fact that he wrote every single song. It's not fair. Save some talent for the rest of us. So talented. He gave us heart, vulnerability, and a strong sense of self. For me personally, this was a tough review to do. And I think like a lot of people listening and watching, Moonbin is missed. He's really missed. And as a fan and as someone that consumes so much of this music in this world on a daily basis, that was a devastating loss. And then on a personal level, some of us can relate to this. And it's a very, very difficult subject matter. So if you can relate to it, I'm sending you a lot of love. And if you can't, I pray that you never have to. Bravo to Cha Eunwoo for working through it in a public way. He cried this past weekend when he was singing Where Am I? I can't imagine writing it and getting on stage. And there's no way I would get through that song without crying. So thank you for showing this hot, masculine man can be sensitive and it's okay to cry and talk about your feelings. Just in doing that, you're saving people. And that's wonderful and amazing. Yeah, this project was really impressive. Take away the emotional toll, take away everything on that side, these are good songs. These are just good songs and they're performed well. And he wrote them. So, talent. Yes, I'm here for this. It's time for my rankings from Cha Eunwoo's debut solo EP. He gave us 5 songs. These are my rankings from least favorite to favorite. I've got to be honest with you though, this was a really strong debut. I vibe with this. I really, really liked this. And I applaud him for writing the lyrics to every single song and for showing us so much bravery and vulnerability. Number 5, effing great time. It was okay, but not my favorite. Number 4, you're the best. Beautiful. Number 3, you and I. What a way to open the project, open the album. I love this vibe. Number 2 was the title track, Stay. I really liked this. That music video was gorgeous. But my number 1, it's Where Am I? Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I cried every single time I listened to this song this week and barely got through that review without bawling. This is a beautiful project. Thank you for being so brave, open, and vulnerable. This man is like more than a triple threat. So much talent. It's not even fair. Congratulations, Cha Eunwoo. I really, really liked this solo project, and I'm excited to hear more and to see what else he comes up with in the future. I think he's got a bright future as a solo artist. Moving on, I could talk about that all night, but I feel like sometimes when things are really emotional, I just end up talking in circles anyway. I love Cha Eunwoo's debut. I thought it was really beautiful and well done. Congratulations. I want to give a shout out to Boy Next Door. They did some amazing covers last week. A couple of the members did one to 21's Lonely, and then the other members did Martini Blue by DPR Live. So cool. Job well done, guys. Also, speaking of covers, ENHYPEN covered I Need You by BTS. They put their own spin on it, and I think it worked. So that's hard covering that song. But shout out to those guys. Today, I'm recording this on Tuesday evening. The JYP Coke ad kind of song came out. I've got to be real, it's actually not bad for a song made for a commercial. I like the video. I think they all look so cute and wholesome. If you don't know what I'm talking about, JYP, NMIX, ITZY, and Stray Kids collabed on a song for a new Coke beverage. I guess it's no sugar Coke. So kind of like Coke Zero. I don't know. But I always did like Coke more than Pepsi, so yay. It was actually very cute. It's very well done. And JYP on the bridge is gold. I really, really liked this. I think I'm becoming a little bit of a label stand for JYP. I love SM sound a lot, but I don't love their business decisions. JYP, I really like those groups. I'm vibing with them and I get a kick out of him. So that was cool. Check that out. Let's talk about what's going on touring wise, shall we? Tour announcement came out, including a huge NCT Dream tour. Okay. Clearly, we know Taeyong's enlisting soon, so this kind of killed fans' hopes and dreams of an NCT 127 tour. Fans are rightfully upset. You know, SM kind of built NCT 127 up here in the States, in Canada, in Europe. And then they stopped touring them. And it's like, it's so frustrating. Why do all that work and then give Dream those tour dates? You know, Europe hasn't seen them since 2019. And this makes me think about EXO because I felt the same way watching NCT 127 tour here years ago when I felt like it should have been EXO. And I'm obviously a massive, massive fan of both those groups. So, like, EXO, their whole career only had 5 tours. They toured in the US in 2016, they did 5 stops. They did like a Newark and LA stop in 2017. They should have been touring the States in 2017, 2018, and 2019. They should have been hitting here hard. They didn't. SM didn't tour them. They toured them in Asia, But do you know who did tour like nonstop here in the States? BTS. And I always think about that. If EXO had been here touring as frequent as BTS, would it have been different? I don't know. I think BTS are very special and they connected with so many of us for specific reasons. But even at that time, I'm like, why is EXO not touring? Why aren't they touring here? Now it's deja vu. Now here we are watching this happen to NCT 127. They toured them in the US. In 2019, they gave 127 9 US stops, 2 stops in Canada. The 2020 dates were canceled due to COVID. I will never forget. Had great seats for that tour at Madison Square Garden. Then it got canceled. They didn't reschedule. In 2022, they did 2 dates here in the US. That's it. That's it. Like, it's just so frustrating because they should have toured EXO in 2019. Instead, they brought NCT 127 here and did it. Now they should be touring 127, and never mind, they're going to keep touring Dream over here. It's like they give up on their older established groups and heavily promote the younger groups instead. It makes no sense because they're doing this when the older popular groups still have time before enlistment. Why not ride the wave as long as possible and tour them again before they start enlisting? It's just like to have them sit on the sidelines while all these other younger groups are cleaning up touring the world is really frustrating. I would capitalize on the group up until enlistment. That's just me. Instead, they bench them during their last year, use their momentum, and push a younger group. And again, I want to talk about this because so many fans are upset, and I think rightfully so. 127 is very popular in the States. They've done really well here. They're very popular in Europe. So it really sucks to not tour them and not give them a chance. Like, what was the point? What frustrates me is like, this is the pattern, you know, when EXO should have been over here, instead they give all the dates to 127. When 127 should be here, Dream's getting yet another tour. And no shade on Dream, they're very popular. But I feel like when Dream is so popular and all the fans want them to come here, they're going to be touring Rise and they're going to bench Dream for that time period. I just think SM's model of touring is so infuriating. So I kind of predicted it. When I saw Taeyong crying at that concert, it was clear to me. He made some comments. So it was very clear. He found out he wasn't going to be able to do a world tour before enlistment. They could have. You could have done 5 dates in the US and like 3 dates in Europe in January, and that would have made all of us so happy. You could have done something. Instead, they do nothing. They completely bench them. And they give Dream this massive tour. Dream's always here. So they're touring Asia, Latin America, US, Europe. So congratulations to them. But I think SM's way of touring is you've got to capitalize on your popular groups right up until enlistment. Don't put them on the bench for the last like 6 months leading up to enlistment. It makes no sense. And I don't understand why you're trying so hard to grow them in the West only to never tour them here, you know. Whatever. Those are my 2 cents on it. I think it sucks. I feel really bad for 127, and I feel really bad for the fans, myself included. I'm just glad I saw Taeyong at KCON last year. Let's get to some K-pop news. Here's what's happened in the world of K-pop since I spoke with you last week. Obviously, that was a little bit of touring news that I had to share. But Twice will be debuting their title track single on The Today Show. First performance ever will be on The Today Show on February 23rd, which is the day this podcast comes out. So, of course, I will have watched it, and I'm going to be reviewing Twice next week. Stray Kids won Best Group at the People's Choice Awards. They joined BTS and Blackpink as the only K-pop groups to ever win. Jungkook won Best Male Artist. He is the first Asian man to win that award. Not just K-pop, Asian. So yes, Jungkook, Stray Kids, 2 of my faves. Congratulations. People in America love you. That's an American award show that we're voting for. So shout out to the People's Choice Awards, giving people what they want. Sticking with BTS, J-Hope is releasing a special 6-track album called Hope on the Street Volume 1. It will go with the new docu-series about his dance career. Longtime BTS fans know this, but some of you may not. He had a series called Hope on the Street. It was him dancing, kind of like when Hyunjin goes on YouTube or goes on like Instagram Live and dances. J-Hope used to do things like that and called it Hope on the Street. A little bit of a vlog. So anyways, I'm guessing these are going to be dance tracks. It'll be different from his solo album. And this had a lot of people questioning, like, I thought you couldn't release music when you were enlisted. Apparently the rule is you can release stuff, but it had to be recorded. All the work had to be done prior to enlistment. So I would assume that also means promotions and everything else. So he was really working up until enlistment. Hive is kind of the opposite of SM in that way. They're going to really capitalize on everything they can. I don't blame them on that. That's smart business. But I'm looking forward to that. 17's Mingyu and the ladies of New Jeans are the new Calvin Klein models. Hybe has a good thing going with Calvin Klein right now. Jungkook still has ads coming out. The latest one in Grand Central Station. Oh my God. Yes. Like, he looks phenomenal. Obviously, Mingyu and New Jeans are going to kill it too. So that's exciting. Tempest come back on March 11th. I like Tempest. I really like Tempest, and I think they kind of slide under the radar. So I'll be reviewing that one. Wendy, vocal queen Wendy from Red Velvet, her first solo comeback. It's called Wish You Hell, March 12th. Wendy. Whew, someone upset Wendy, and I'm excited for it. T by T have a comeback in April. Very much looking forward to that one. aespa are set to go on their second world tour. They've announced a few dates. More will be released, but hopefully SM doesn't drop the ball on that one. I'm not sure if they're going to come to the States this time, but I was lucky enough to see aespa last year. Congratulations to P1 Harmony. P1 Harmony, I talk about them a lot. I recently reviewed them. I didn't love Killing It, but I thought there were great songs on that album. And I'm just a massive fan of that group. They debuted over 3 years ago, and they just got their first show win this week. Congratulations. It's so overdue, but so deserved. So shout out to those guys. The Hento Awards were this past weekend, and they were a mess. A hot mess, literally. K-pop fans, I'm sure you've seen this. If you haven't, maybe you had a busy week and you don't know the tea. Apparently, at this award show, it was like in a small kind of, it looked like it was in like a smaller room, not like a huge arena. I couldn't tell how big the venue size was, but this wasn't a giant arena. And they had fans in front of the stage, like standing room, barricade. Fans were standing there all night. And apparently there was a lot of very bad behavior. Fans were fighting, they were pushing. HJ from ATEEZ at one point went and got his security to kind of break things up. But the biggest thing that happened that everyone is talking about, apparently a fan had an accident, went to the bathroom. And not number one, number two, and some of it got on the floor, and it smelled really, really bad because when someone craps their pants, it usually smells horrific. And everyone was like running from the person because there was like literal poop on the floor. And you could see the idols making faces like when they would go on stage because the stench was so bad. Some people were going like this and like holding their nose. That is horrible. And I feel really bad for that fan. I mean, that's like your worst nightmare coming true. I will say though, you have to kind of make a choice there. Yes, you're going to lose your spot. When you're standing room only, that's the worst because I hate standing room because you have to stand forever. And if you have to go to the bathroom, you lose your spot. And definitely if you're alone, no friend's going to save your spot. And these fans get like really aggressive. So it's hard. I totally get it. But if it's a decision between like losing your spot or like having an accident, you need to make the other choice. That's disgusting. That is disgusting. And, or maybe she was sick or I don't know who it was. I shouldn't assume. Maybe they were sick. Whatever the case, that's horrible for everyone involved. I hope it wasn't the case where they wouldn't let the person leave and come back. That would be awful. Whatever the situation, terrible, like a literal shit show. So, ugh. I'm happy some of my faves were not in attendance because that was disgusting. Anyways, if you want to know more about that, look it up. It's good, gross. Lucas is opening a Twitter account. Lucas was also pictured attending Ten's fan concert. He was sitting with Mark and I believe Jaehyun, Johnny, NCT guys. This is like breaking news on all these gossip sites, all these Korean K-pop gossip sites. You know what, guys? You need to move on. You really need to move on from the Lucas stuff. You don't have to like stan every single person. And if you don't like him anymore, fine. But it kind of sucks that like he can't sit with his friends without people attacking him and getting really crazy aggressive. These are, the same fans that, God forbid anything happened, they'd be all over social media saying that they're struggling with their mental health. They're so upset. But they bully these idols so mercilessly. It just, the disconnect, the day that Moonbin passed, everyone's all over social media, sending love to his fans and saying how they're so upset and we have to take mental health clear. Then you have Lucas, who was never proven to have done anything wrong, mind you. Actually, the receipts show the opposite, that this was a smear campaign. He didn't do anything. And you have fans trying to bully him to death. And that's what they're doing. And if you think that that's too dramatic of a statement, it's not. That's what this is. These fans are unhappy that someone exists, that he would have a Twitter account, that he would go to a concert with his friends. Literally, you're trying to bully someone to death. You should be held accountable for that. Let somebody live. You don't have to like them. You don't have to stan them. You don't have to listen to their music or look at any of their pictures. But the way that the Korean media and that some of these fans just attack him for existing, it's ugly. You're very, very ugly people to do that. Not looks wise. Your heart, there's something wrong in here. It's so upsetting to me. Really, like the way they bully, even the actor who took his life over the holidays. Like you all get so upset, but it's all performative because the actions don't change. Korea Boo is posting all this stuff, blasting, oh my God, Lucas opened a Twitter account. Why is that a headline? Let him live. The exact thing that they were all condemning everyone for a month ago, they're all doing again. And they're going to keep doing it. There's no change in culture. So I am going to call it out. I'm going to call it out. I think it's disgusting. These are human beings at the end of the day. I know we call them idols. These are human beings. No one's perfect. I might like some songs. I might not like some songs. I might like someone's personality. I might not vibe with this person. It doesn't mean anyone doesn't deserve to exist and do their thing and put out their songs. You don't have to hate so much. And you don't have to love so much that it becomes hating other people. There's so much room for all of us to exist in this world. I would just ask that you all focus your energy on positivity and love. And if you don't like something, it's not the end of the world. We can have a cordial conversation about it. We can talk about it without being super negative and mean and bullying people. So anyways, yeah, I just don't like that. I don't like bullying people for existing. That's lame to me. It's lame. Let's move on. That's all I have for you because I recorded a night early this week. Next week, massive, massive, massive week. Twice comeback. I am so excited. Ever since I Got You came out, Like, first of all, I love that song so much, and it really energized me for this comeback. I'm excited. My expectations are high now, ladies. I think they're going to knock out of the park. I really vibe with what Twice has been doing. Taeyong, of course, I'm reviewing him next week. And then Ace, the Gentlemen of Ace, one of my most slept on groups. I will talk about them till I'm blue in the face. Luckily, I won't have to, though, because Kpop Weekly Podcast contributor Meg will be on with me for that Ace review next week. So look forward to that. Meg is great. The next week, IU, got to review this IU release. Gravity and Plave. Plave, one of my groups I thought deserved more attention in 2023. I've got those reviews coming. We're going to finish this month strong. I'm interested to hear what you thought of these releases this week. Did you vibe with Les Sserafim? Because I think that's one that's going to be very polarizing. Interested to hear your thoughts on it. I also cannot stop saying how much I was blown away by Cha Eunwoo. Very, very, very strong debut. I like this. I don't know if it's going to be hugely commercially successful because it's a much more subdued project. But anyone who's writing the lyrics and putting themselves out there that vulnerably is not only talented, but brave. So he's earned a place in my heart with this release this week. I will have a lot of poll questions. I also want to talk about this touring stuff and what's going to happen with 127. Oof. For those of us that love third gen boy groups, times are dark. I already lost BTS Monsta X. 127, I know it's coming. I know after Taeyong's solo release, he's going to announce his enlistment. I know it's coming, but I still feel like I'm going to have a breakdown. Get ready for more tears on the pod when that happens. Luckily, we've got a lot of great music to talk about. A lot of good K-pop stuff is coming out and is happening, and I'm so grateful that I get to bring it to you and talk to you about it. I love this music so, so much. I hate that I had to give a review that wasn't great to a group that I really like tonight. That's such a crappy feeling. Like, I really hate that. I don't get off on being negative and not liking stuff. I love music and I want to celebrate music. So it just didn't work for me. Doesn't mean it's bad. Just my personal taste. Still rooting for the girls and can't wait to see them kill it at Coachella. I hope you're all doing well. On a night like this where the subject matter gets heavy, when I'm talking about Moonbin and Eunwoo, it reminds me of kindness, of caring about each other, thinking about Lucas and thinking about the giant picture of us as a collective, especially in fandom and in K-pop world, showing some grace. Just show people grace, you know? The judgment is so difficult. Maybe peel that back a little bit and let's show each other some kindness and grace when the opportunity arises. Life is hard enough. We don't need to make it harder for people. So I'm sending everyone listening tons and tons and tons of love. Again, if you want to hear me review something, check out Patreon. There's a place there to leave requests. There's all different levels of membership with different benefits. So I appreciate everyone's support so far. We've got a great community building. I'm really enjoying the discussions. So head on over to the Patreon. If you'd like to read my newsletter, I do kind of my thoughts on each week's episode every week. Click on the link. That's free. You'll get that in your inbox every week. Please subscribe. I love sharing my thoughts. Most of you know I'm also a writer, and this is a way for me to write about K-pop every week on my terms. Enjoy your weekend. I hope you're enjoying that Twice album. I will be reviewing it next week. Ace, I cannot wait to hear it. And of course, my man Taeyong. It's going to be a big one. I hope you come back. My challenge this week is to show some grace and kindness, even when you don't feel like it. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. I will be back next week. Thank you so much for joining me and being a part of my life. I don't take you for granted. I'm grateful to have all of you. You keep me going. I'll be here every week. All right. Love you guys. Bye.